No, you don't need to make a joke. You can rely on the fact that I've made every mistake in the book, believe me.
Well, you only make it once, right?
No.
If you only make that mistake once, then you can, yeah.
There are mistakes you only make once.
Yeah,
There are
yeah,
mistakes that I make repeatedly,
yeah, I've done a few myself.
like
Yeah.
booking the wrong flights and stuff like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, been
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Cost me an arm and a leg, but
nice.
you learn.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Hey, hey, people, guess what? That's right, we're back on the air. Again. I know, I've said that before, haven't I? Probably more than once. But this time I mean it. See, around here, we don't believe in pumping out episodes like a fast food drive-thru. Nah. We're more of a slow-smoked, 12-hour brisket kind of podcast. You know, quality over quantity, baby. Okay, fine. That's total bullshit. I just didn't have the time. Life happened. Gear happened. Gigs happened. And somehow, a whole year flew by faster than a follow spot operator on caffeine. And wow, what a year it's been. Avo Lights got bought over by Roby. Yeah, that was a plot twist no one saw coming. Donald Trump got reelected. And no, I'm not getting into politics, but let's be honest. Even that manages to ripple through the entertainment industry. On a more personal note, big change. I'm no longer with AVL Media Group. Yep, end of an era. But I do want to give a huge shout-out and heartfelt thanks to Steve Costers and the whole crew at AVL for 9 absolutely fantastic years. And Steve, man, thank you for supporting this podcast from day one, and for letting me keep the Zoom L12 mixer when I left. My listeners and I appreciate it more than you know. Actually, it's one of the major reasons this thing still sounds halfway professional. Alright, now for the next chapter, I've now joined the ranks at DataVisual, Canada's leading value-added AV distributor covering over 50 professional brands. They're based in Ottawa, which means for me, up here near Montreal, it's work from home. When I'm not traveling, of course. And yes, I say when I'm not traveling, like I'm barely tied to a desk, because it's still hopping across the country and even out of the country to attend trade shows, visit manufacturers, and geek out over new gear. But hey, I am very grateful for not having to hit the Montreal traffic every day. What makes DataVisual tick, and what got me excited, is their people-first approach to management. When I say people, I mean staff and customers. So yes, new job, same love for live events, gear, and backstage shenanigans. Just with less commuting stress. Alright, enough nostalgia. Let's get to the good stuff. In past episodes, we've hung out with some amazing folks, like Eric Massicotte, the A1 audio engineer for the Montreal Canadiens, and Lisanne Collin-Millette, who runs house sound for the Bell Center. But this time, we're heading all the way across the country to meet none other than the lighting director for the Vancouver Canucks. The one, the only, Dougal Dolhagaray. Did I pronounce that right? Probably not. I actually asked him, and his response was, "Hey man, just call me Dougal." Totally fair, man, I get it. My last name gets butchered on a daily basis. Like, Vien. Can you imagine? Veins, vines, veins. Whatever, man, just call me Jim. Okay. Now, Dougal, this guy's the real deal. A colorful, cheerful, brilliantly talented lighting director and designer who somehow manages to make hockey look even cooler than it already is. He's also one of the rare people who'll share his knowledge with anyone who asks, whether you're a seasoned pro, a total beginner, or a wide-eyed wannabe trying to figure out which end of the DMX cable goes where. So, grab your coffee or your road case of choice, and let's go backstage with Dougal. the man who lights up the Canucks. Literally. How are you, Dougal?
I am well. Thanks
Cool.
for having me on your podcast.
Well, thanks for accepting, man. This is really cool. Hey, man, I'm very happy to be able to talk to you. I mean, I think there's a lot of things we need to cover.
Okay.
I Let's start off with where you are now, what you're
Okay.
doing now, and
Yeah.
we'll work our way back to how you got in that mess. I mean,
Okay.
how you were able to
Yeah.
make it to
Yeah.
that point in life. So
Yeah.
I know you're doing the lights for the Vancouver Canucks. I know that.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
you're involved in a whole bunch of other projects, and more recently, you've joined
Yeah.
DataVisual as a
Yeah.
regional sales manager. We're going to
Yeah.
cover all that, but let me.
Okay.
I'll let you explain to me a little bit what you're all about at this point in time in your career.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Well, I did a cool one last night, actually. I did
Oh,
a fun gig. It just happened to pop up. A friend of mine would just happened to be coming through town and asked me to come and help him do the lights for Guar last night
oh,
at the Vogue Theater.
wow.
Do you know who Guar is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Guar is on their 40th year anniversary tour right now. Okay, they've been around for 40 years. They're an artistic performance group. So they're a rock and roll band, but they also do like artistic theatrical performances on stage. You'll have to see it for yourself. They're from outer space and they have elaborate costumes. They spray the crowd with all kinds of like fluids, we'll say, and the fans get into it like crazy. It's one of the funnest shows to do. And one of my best friends is now their tour manager.
Okay.
And he just invited me out to, I was just going to go hang out last night and see the show. And he asked if I wanted to just hop on one of the consoles, one of the lighting consoles, and work with their lighting guy and do the show.
Oh,
So it
you
was really fun. It was a good time.
spontaneously, just like that, no preparation
Absolutely.
whatsoever.
Zero prep.
Wow.
Yeah. What was cool is I have done lights for them many times in the past, as they're coming through town, or I've been on a festival where they're playing. My
Uh-huh.
friend has asked me to help out if they didn't have a lighting guy. So yeah, last night it just worked out. I did help do some of their video like tech design.
Okay.
I helped them come up with some of their background video system. And I was going to do their lighting for this tour, but they had a local guy that was, more available to be there than I was, so they leaned on him instead, and I was just happy to be part of this one show. It was really cool.
Nice. So you
Yeah, it
already
was a
had
good time.
a good idea of the environment, and
Totally. Yeah, I've worked at the Vogue a lot of times, and I do know the music of Guar, because I've done it a few times, and I just took direction from their lighting guy for this particular show. He came up with a couple hand signals that he could give me when he wanted
Mhm.
me to do certain stuff, but it was really easy. It was a success.
That's really
The,
cool.
the fans loved it. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So I see
Yeah.
you wear many hats, and as I
Oh, many
mentioned
hats. Yeah.
earlier, there's the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
I know you
Yeah.
do. You're the lighting director, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lighting director
what does
there
that
at the
imply
Rogers Arena.
exactly?
Yeah.
Because obviously there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of really bright lights on the rink while the
Yeah.
game is going on, but there's also a
Yeah.
bunch of effects and
Yeah.
there's cool stuff before, after, and between. Tell us about that. How does that work?
Yeah, so this is going to be my seventh season with the Canucks. I started there in 2019, like just before. It was the season of the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
So, it was really cool. I started off strong, was really enjoying it, getting into it, figuring out hockey. They hired me because I'm a concert guy. I don't have a lot of sports background, no interest in sports. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about ice hockey, or I didn't when I first started in 2019. And they were looking for a guy who was, or a person who was like a concert person, an
Mm-hmm.
entertainment lighting person. They wanted to take their show to a little higher level. They wanted to introduce more of an entertainment
Yeah.
style of show to their game. So they hired my colleague, Jason McKinnon from Electric Aura, who I've been working with a lot coming up, and he did a lot of the design for their new show, and then they needed a guy on the ground all the time, so they hired me to do it, and it right away, I really loved it, coming,
Mm.
seeing these games, learning about ice hockey, and I just it was a really great atmosphere for me because it was a really cool team, very supportive team, and they let me come in at nighttime and just learn the system. They let
Uh-huh.
me come in at my own pace and learn this thing. They needed me to learn fast, so I came in and I got a lot of time in the arena by myself,
Uh-huh.
just grabbing the new light show or what I wanted to do with it. And it was really fun because I had always worked on stages, and now I'm going from a stage, which is, always at one end of the room. It's, all the energy comes from the stage. Everybody's looking there. And now we're going to a 360-degree
Yeah.
stage,
Yeah.
and there's fans everywhere. So it kind of opened up my, my just opened up my mind of what you can do in stages. Um, so it was really cool to bring what I had learned on. I want to say just like, but not flat stages, but 2D
Mm-hmm.
stage,
Yeah.
or just one-ended stage, and then bringing it to the 360 was really fun for me. It was
Yeah.
cool
Yeah. It's an
to
interactive
bring the two.
environment. I mean, the show's going on everywhere in the room, actually. Oh, just lost you. For some reason, I lost sound. This is strange. Let me try to turn it off and turn it back on. Okay. All
I'll
right, you're
keep
back.
talking. Here we are.
Yeah, weird.
Okay,
Really weird.
cool. Yeah, no
Uh,
problem.
Okay, I had to reset the. Whatever.
Not going to touch anything over on my end.
Shit happens, man.
So it's all
Show
on your
must go on.
side. That's it. Do it live. Yeah,
Yeah,
fix it live.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, even seasoned, touring technicians like ourselves,
yeah.
we're
That's
confronted with
yeah.
these stupid bugs that
Oh yeah.
we have no clue where they come from.
That's why they have us. 'Cause we stay calm in those moments, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
stay calm and get it done quick. That's the key, man. Yeah, yeah. The other thing that's
Yeah.
cool about working in sports is that it's not just a concert where it's a live atmosphere. It is a concert that is live, but it's also broadcast as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a TV show at the same time. Ultimately, it is a TV show because there's 18,000 people in the room. There's more people watching on TV.
Yeah.
So that's another consideration now because it's kind of a hybrid kind of show. It's not just a live show, not just a broadcast, because there's people who specialize in both, lighting areas. They're both very different dynamically. And in the live sports world, you got really have to blend those two because you're keeping the energy in the room going, you're matching whatever music they're playing in the room, but at the same time, it's a TV show, so you have to adhere to some very strict regulations, and you have to cut the lights at certain points. You have to light certain things up. Sometimes if there's a TV shot, you have to just keep that in mind, like a TV light or a movie lighting guy would, and focus all the energy of the lights on the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas sometimes, you need energy everywhere to keep the audience engaged. So it was really fun kind of learning all that because it's a lot to put together out there. You need to have certain lights for certain moments for the live hits.
Yeah,
And
let's
yeah,
go into that. I've always
yeah,
wondered. I mean, I watch. I don't really watch hockey, but I mean, I see
yeah,
some games here and there when I go
yeah,
to
yeah,
go to a bar and have a beer, and there's a game going. I
yeah.
have to watch it.
I mean, you're in Montreal. You should be going to that Centre Bell, right? That
Yeah, it
place,
should be, but I'm not.
largest indoor capacity arena.
Yeah.
That's a fun arena.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I've had on the podcast. I've had the A1 Eric Mascotte who does the sound for TV.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I've had
That's a big job.
also Lisanne, who does the sound for the crowd.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah,
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So they know.
yeah, they
That
know.
must be a fun
And
place to work. Yeah.
what then I'm an NFL guy, so I don't
Okay.
really watch hockey. I guess I should, but I don't.
Is that the one with the little brown egg that they throw to each other?
Yeah, that.
I've heard,
Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the egg is not fragile. I can tell you
Yeah.
for having busted my fingers on it a few times.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
is kind of why I don't play anymore because I like to be able
Yeah,
to
sure.
play the bass also. Uh,
Oh, yeah, right.
but I'd like to get into the details. I mean, what is it exactly that you do? Because obviously during the game,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
what I call key lighting, but it's,
Yeah.
they light up the rink in a manner that
Yeah.
everybody can see well.
Yeah.
But I've seen some special effects during goals or during intermissions and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, up to what point can you add to all that light that's already in there, and what are the special cues that you do?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
exactly are you asked to do, or are you asked to do it, or is that just coming out of your imagination?
So it's a mix of both.
Okay.
So my the big show that we do, unfortunately, it's probably seen by the least amount of people throughout the night because our big show starts in between the team warm up and puck drop.
Yeah.
So that's our big moment. And sometimes if you're watching on TV at the beginning of the game, you can kind of catch that. You'll see an
Yeah.
announcer, probably at rink level
Yeah, it's more
doing
theatrical
doing
at that
his
point. Yeah.
and you see in the background, there's probably a lot of action going on. So that's what teams do. They do this big show before the team skates on, just like to welcome the team, set the tone of the room. And at that point, crowd is still coming in.
Mm-hmm.
The doors are 6 o'clock, the game is 7, and this is between kind of 6:45 to 7 that we do our big show. And people are still coming in. They're still at the concession stand. So it's we don't get the biggest crowd in there to see our cool show that we put a lot of time in as we would like, but I really encourage people to come in early, to see the show. Whenever I
Yeah.
have guests that come down, so you make sure you get in there for warm up so you can see the whole show. Because once the lights go down for warm up, or after warm up, then that's kind of where we get started. So we set the tone with a walk-in look right off the bat. We'll kill those lights that you're calling key lights. We call those the broadcast lights.
Yeah.
Okay, we actually have like 328 of them.
Mm-hmm. And you can do that now because there was a time where they were sodium lights and it took forever to turn them on and get them to their full power.
Yeah, yeah, they would need a warm-up time, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so lucky that I don't have to deal with those anymore. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Going to half shutter with mechanical shutters is how you would have to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So they still had some of those mechanical shutter fixtures in when I started there
Mm.
in 2019, and they had just kind of gotten rid of them all. But they're really cool to see. But yeah, I never had to deal with those. I'm so lucky for that. But yeah, we have all LED, 328 LED fixtures. They're RGB, and they do a warm white, cool white
Oh,
mix. Yeah, so we have a plot, a PDF file that has all the focus points for every light, so that we get an even wash
okay.
that's broadcast acceptable.
Are they just downlights, or I mean, what kind of setup are because I remember back in the day
Yeah.
they were all sodium lights, they were all aimed down, and that was it, and we would just wash the whole room. So what's the setup now?
So they're very specifically pointed so that you can get an even wash because you want when you have the cameras rolling, you don't want to see any
No,
patchy
for sure.
spots. And
Yeah.
that it needs to be just a full even surface, especially now since they put those advertisements all over the board, the
Mm-hmm.
digital advertisements. So they need a really clean surface. So I think the lighting, regulations for NHL have kind of gone up and been amended over the past few years
Okay.
because of all the new fixtures that they've introduced. And yeah, they have very specific aiming points. They have a digital zoom on them, which is kind of like a focus.
Really?
You can kind of shutter them a little bit, some of these lights. So we also have those zoom values on a page that we can reference,
Okay.
if we have to move anything. And what's fun is we actually did have a bit of an issue. The old design, the first design of our sports lights were based around the old score clock. that we had in Rogers
Oh,
Arena.
yeah.
Okay, and we have since upgraded the old score clock to a massive score clock, and since putting the new clock in, it hangs much lower, takes up a larger footprint now.
Ah.
It blocked a lot of the lights that were hitting center ice.
Mm-hmm.
So after they installed this thing 2 seasons ago, we came across this issue where center ice, most important spot, downstage center of an ice hockey game, if you will, was
Mm-hmm.
dark. Like it was in shadow because of this big clock.
Yeah.
So we had to temporarily rent some lights. We had to go down
Fill
with a
in the
light
holes.
meter. Yep, fill in the hole in center ice. We had to rent some lights to do that while we figured out how we were going to reconfigure the sports light to get the even wash again. And it took some time because the worst part of working in an arena is that they're so busy.
Yeah.
You never get any time in there.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get time to actually get a group of people together to make big projects like reconfiguring, hundreds of lights.
Mm-hmm.
You
You'd
know, to
think
make that
that they would
happen.
have thought of that while designing the
Yeah,
install of uh, the new display clock, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
That
pretty
reminds
sure.
me at
Yeah,
the Just for Laughs Museum.
yeah,
At the last minute, they start hanging banners
yeah.
between the FOH and the
What
stage.
they do.
Brilliant,
That's what
right?
happens last minute. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Those guys don't need to see. The
No.
sound guys just need to hear, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it always goes. There's always something that gets overlooked in these really big projects, or what actually happens most of the time is it's just the deadlines get pushed so far.
Yeah.
Something can't come in time, and then it affects the timeline of the whole project, and then it encroaches on other projects that have to start. So you have to
Yeah.
make some compromises of what you can really plan for, and then sometimes the unknowns happen, like like us not having enough time to do check lighting. So we did fix that problem, reconfigured some lights in the off season, and now we have a much better broadcast wash in there.
Yeah. So other than the
So yeah,
broadcast wash, what other
yeah,
gear are you playing with in your setup? I
yes,
mean, because I'm
yeah,
curious. At the time, I remember we used to have some super powerful scans, and
yeah,
those were the first things that we'd put in. We just aimed them all at the goal and strobed them when there was a goal,
yeah,
which
yeah.
you could hardly see.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, because all the sports lights that are on, that's
Yeah, but I
that's
see
the
this
thing.
getting better. So what
Yeah.
kind of gear are you playing with right now?
So we do have an older rig in there right now. We have 24 very light VL3Ks.
Mm-hmm.
So those are a little older fixture. I
Classic.
think they come from yeah, they are a classic. Those are our real workhorses. I mean, it's amazing that we have this fleet is still working in there for us.
Yeah.
They're going strong. We have a lot of parts for them. We have a great team that fixes these lights for us if there's ever a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We get some sticky shutters here and there now. We get some color flags getting stuck. That happens. Sometimes they like to point different directions. They're older lights, but we still have 24 of them. Those are our key lights that we use. We're lighting the blue line. We're lighting the
Yeah.
benches with that. Player entrances, that kind of stuff. We have 16 Mac 3Ks around the clock.
Okay.
Yeah, and those have our Canucks gobo in them. We have to have our logo
Yeah.
gobo in them, so we can put that over the crowd. We have 20 Chauvet R2X beams,
Hmm.
which are kind of like a Sharpie. They're basically a
Yeah.
Sharpie,
Yeah.
and those are really fun. We love those. Those hang around the clock as well with the Mac 3Ks,
Uh-huh.
and we have 12 Mac Axions,
Mm-hmm.
six at each end. So those are hybrid beam spots. We can do a lot with those. We just got 4 Mac Ultras this year because the VLs haven't been able to compete with the new score clock. So that's kind of the problem that we're
Mm-hmm.
coming across in a lot of concerts these days, right? Is they keep putting all this LED product in,
Yeah.
and now our lights are having a hard time competing with it.
Yeah.
That's something I'm always doing, whether it's at the arena or at a concert. I'm
Everywhere.
talking to the LED techs. Hey, what's your wall? What's the brightness of your wall right
Yeah.
now?
Which
If they're
explains how
like,
the
oh, it's at
Sharpie.
100.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that explains how the
yeah.
Sharpie got so popular because it was just
Oh yeah,
about the only type of lighting effect that could cut through
absolutely,
a
absolutely.
super powerful LED screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I'm always telling them to turn that LED wall down so we can see our lights.
Yeah, and it
So
is annoying. I mean,
yeah,
I've done hundreds of corporate events,
yeah,
and you try to explain to the producer,
yeah,
do
yeah,
not create any white backgrounds on your slides
yeah,
because
yeah,
it. And
yeah.
how
It's
many
gonna
times have people
really
come up
affect
to
the
me and say,
camera.
"Can you turn the lights down?" I said, "They're off.
It's
You're
not
looking at
lights.
the
You're
LED screens
screaming
right now."
LED wall. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I know it's there's a lot of young techs that are LED wall guys too, and they don't really understand that balance yet.
Yeah.
That you have to walk to get a nice camera shot because those corporate events are all about the IMAG. Yeah, that's something that I've really learned. That's been one of the best things that I've learned working at the arena is that balance between live and broadcast. It's good to learn both worlds.
Yeah, it's nice
Yeah,
that everybody talk to each other and listen and
yeah.
actually take the time to understand the other guy's
Work as a
job.
team. That's becoming way more of a thing these days, which I love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, what do you do with all those lights? What are your cues? I mean, okay, I understand that before the game, there's a whole bunch of show stuff going on. So, what happens during the game?
well, I want to talk a little bit more about pregame.
Go right ahead.
We have That's the most important part to me. All
Yeah.
right, like that's our big show. So once we turn off all those sports lights, Zambonis are done. We go into walk-in. We turn those off and we get into our walk-in look.
Uh huh.
And that's when we'll wash the crowd with nice smooth lighting. Put some gobos around the crowd. Make it a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right, set the mood, and we use a lot of haze. That's our trick in Vancouver.
Uh huh.
That's why our shows look really good. Is because they let us use haze.
So, question: yeah, the haze, is that a problem for cameras?
It
Because
it definitely can be. Yeah, it
yeah.
definitely can be. But that's another spot where we can work as a team on that. So I run a lot of haze pre-show. I try not to get it to that camera platform. Like the camera platform sits at the like 200 level, we'll
Mm-hmm.
say, and I try not to get the haze level to be below the camera shot. They're pointed down towards the ice, so you have a lot of leeway there. You can get haze really low in the room, and then I work with the operations team, and we have a little deal where as soon as our anthem starts, as soon as our anthem stinger starts,
Yeah.
they actually turn on the fan system
Ah.
and they start to suck all the haze out. So that
Ah.
haze will go away in a matter of minutes, and then by the time that puck drops, it's clear.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
it
so
is
we've
managed.
we've
All
figured
right.
it out.
Yeah.
We have figured that out. It's been some trial and error
Yeah.
for sure, but yeah, we have figured that out. I mean, one of our signature looks at Vancouver is the fog blast under our score clock
Hmm.
and from the truss. So we have eight. It's not cryo, it's like fog cryo
Yeah.
that blast for goals. So we use that a lot. It's kind of like a Vancouver steam clock kind of idea. That's what we got going on there. So. Um, we also have around our rink, which is our actual signature look, is the stanchion tubes of LED. So they're vertical LED strips
Mm-hmm.
that are in between the pieces of glass around the
Oh,
rink.
yeah.
So it's run by a Hippo Nevis server.
Mm-hmm.
So we can put video content on there. We can put video content that matches the score clock
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
So it's all tied together. It looks really cool. We can have animations that go from the projection on the ice up the LEDs on
Mm.
the glass up to the rig into the score clock. So it's a really cool little feature that we have. Um, so as soon as we get out of the walk-in look, we set the mood, bring the team out, go into our warm-up skate, which is just the team warming up. First the time we've seen the team on the ice. Okay,
Uh-huh.
lots of people start coming in. People are still pouring into the arena. Kids are up at the glass, pounding on the glass, and coming out of that, we kill the lights. We get into our dark look, and that's when we're kind of really getting ready for the show. We do a land acknowledgement out here in the West Coast, uh, which is our first kind of hit, and then we start our kind of crowd pumpers, our scene setter chapter. Is that we run it in a series of chapters. Our
Okay.
our show. Okay, so once our show starts, um, we'll have our game caller. We'll call us to blackout after we do the land acknowledgement, and we'll start our chapter one, which is just our scene setter. This year we kind of have a space theme for Canucks. We
Oh.
kind of do this AI space kind of thing, and the we do a little scene setter, little introduction video with lighting, and everything's time coded. So we'll
Okay.
get into it. We'll get into our mark queue coming out of our land acknowledgement. It'll black out, go into our mark queue, and then now we're sitting on the console waiting for the signal from production, from the ROS controller to trigger our console.
Oh, okay.
And we're running an internal time code clock on the lighting to run our video cues that go to the stanchions, those LED tubes, and to go to the light. So they'll just trigger go on our time code,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll trigger the lights to go with the video.
Okay.
So we run it's 4 chapters we're doing this year. The first chapter is like a scene setter. Um, and well, it's actually Rogers Arena 30-year anniversary this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're running this Rogers Arena 30th anniversary welcome video for 30 seconds. Then we get into our space theme chapter. Then we get into what's called our hype video, which is a lot of gameplay footage.
Uh,
Um, but it's really cool because it actually sets the mood of Vancouver.
uh.
It's kind of dark, it's rainy, we have a lot of really good audio design, and it's really a good one to do the lights too. We do really blue lighting, kind of set the mood that you're in Vancouver. There's lightning flashes over the crowd,
Uh-huh.
and then they do some more sports footage to get people really excited. Then we actually do the next chapter is a projection and light show dedicated for us. So they'll generally give us a song, and they'll make some cue points, some moments for us where the show will change tone.
Mm-hmm.
The video will change tone, and they just invite us to do a full light show, give this little video a lighting treatment,
So
whatever
all
song they choose.
all this preparation for this show,
Yeah,
because it's different at every game, right? So
yeah,
there's obviously some pre-prod being done. Is that done on the
yeah.
spot or is it done offline?
It's a lot of it's done offline. There's
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole game presentation team that work really hard all week, working for this. Whether it's making videos, it's coming up with activations, it's writing scripts for our hosts.
Mm-hmm.
So during these videos, we'll have a host hit, down at ice level, or we'll go to our announcer to do a hit, and it's all about setting the tone. And I think they're trying to make the room rumble for the team, to get the team excited too, and maybe make the other team kind of scared. So we're really trying to get the crowd hyped at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
cruel, but it's legal.
It is, yeah. We do a little audience abuse with the strobes, if it gets people excited. Um, but it's this one's really cool. The light projection show, because sometimes they'll get a different team to create this projection show, and it'll encompass the ice projections as well as the 360 rings
Uh-huh.
and the score clock, and it'll tie everything together, and there'll be different flashes from different
Yeah,
different
because that's a
places.
lot of
Yeah,
content management because of all
it's a ton of
the
content management. Yeah,
configuration of the screens. It's not just one square screen. I mean, it's
yeah.
it's 360.
It's so
It's
many screens. Yeah.
the ice projection,
Over the bombs.
and I
Yeah.
suppose the middle clock turns into a screen at some point because they're all LED displays now, right?
Oh, it's one big screen,
Yeah.
basically.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's one continuous screen. They use that a lot. They're trying to do some of this new content where it's kind of 3D, the 3D style content,
Uh-huh.
where
Yeah.
things are coming out of you. They really manage it. They use the clock in a good way. Definitely, putting different imagery on the clock as to the ice
Uh-huh.
and the 360s. It has a huge impact, being able to put different images on all those different surfaces. Not just having the same thing on
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So you can really create cool environments, different environments with all that LED technology now. But it does take a lot of content management with sizing and making sure your rasters are correct,
Mm-hmm.
making sure whatever content you're using is appropriate for the output that you're playing it on, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to have a different style of content playing on the projection to the ice
Mm-hmm.
than what's playing on the LED. And then you got to have something different on the 360, because it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
much different aspect ratio to look at. So it takes a lot of people in a lot of direction to get everything dialed into the show that they really want.
Yeah. What
And then
actually?
we, you know,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. Oh, I was gonna say then we get management looking at it, and then they pick it apart and chop it up, and then complain, change things.
Of
You know,
course, of course. Once it's
yeah,
done, once you're satisfied with
yeah,
it, then somebody else brings in a new idea, and you have to.
yeah.
Uh,
Starts pointing things out that you missed.
yeah,
Oh
and
yeah,
here's the thing about this. I mean, it's most of it is time coded, so it's a bunch of people, bunch of departments coming all together on this one trigger, which may or may not come from you. At some point, somebody else pulls the trigger on what
someone else
you
is pulling the
on the
trigger.
part
Yep,
that you've programmed, and that's supposed to be integrated with the part that everybody else programmed.
yep. It gets terrifying at some point.
Well,
Once you
exactly.
stand back and you're waiting for that trigger to go, I mean, you're confident that it's going to work.
Yeah,
You've done your background work, you've rehearsed it, you've tried it, but in the moment, anything can happen. And things do
absolutely.
happen. Things
Yeah,
happen all the
and
time.
if it doesn't,
Computers crash. You know,
there's only a certain amount of things you can do to try and save the show once that initial cue hasn't worked because everything's automated. So you can't just maybe up to a certain point you can pull some manual triggers and kind of
yeah.
compensate, but I mean it's pretty tough to recuperate. So let's talk about fuck ups. I'm pretty sure that happened, right?
It happens all the time. Yeah, and honestly, that's why they have to have good people behind those consoles,
Yeah,
because in those moments, you can't freeze up. You gotta be able to think straight. You gotta be able to stay cool
yeah,
and troubleshoot really quick. Figure out what that problem is right away. How can I solve it in the nick of time? Because the song is playing.
yeah.
That's what happens. So we have a couple ways we can get out of things. We're always watching at the top of that trigger. We'll say, when they say go, and we push that button to make audio, video, lighting,
Hmm.
everything to go at once. We're all looking at that cue to make sure that our first cue takes and to make sure that things are rolling in time.
Yeah,
And sometimes they're not. So we've learned over the years that you should have some kind of cue point pretty close to the start of that, so that you can at least tell if it's rolling correctly or not.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so any one of the departments can see it right away and say, stop, we have what we call re-rack.
Mm.
We just say, let's re-rack it, everybody out. And so we can quickly cut it
Okay.
if it's within the first few seconds of it. If we realize that there's an issue coming up, or that there's an issue within the first, few bars or few seconds of that reel, we have a chance to save it, where we can say, cut it, everything out, let's re-rack, every department ready, everyone will check in, let's go, try it again, pull
Yeah.
that trigger again, make sure it works. It might not work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because re-rack means you're actually just resetting, going back to the start point, and pulling the trigger again. So
Yep.
if it's a glitch that caused something not to trigger, that's one thing. So re-rack would in most instances, that's $50 word. That re-racking would kind of make it work. But I mean,
We
if
would
there's
hope. Yeah.
another problem somewhere causing a queue not to start or part of the show not to start, um, that's another story. And how often will it happen that there's a glitch that actually everything's programmed perfectly, but something won't trigger for some reason? How often does that
Yeah.
happen?
It happens all the time. That's why we rehearse the show every day.
It's not too
We'll go
comforting.
through the entire, yeah, I know for sure. It happens all the time, especially in an arena like ours. It's a 30-year-old arena.
Uh-huh.
We've got a mix of 30-year-old technology with brand new technology. We
Yeah.
just put the score clock in 2 years ago. So we've got brand new state-of-the-art equipment, and it's working in conjunction with older equipment. So sometimes there's cables that, maybe there's an older Ethernet cable that can't support the data flow that the new
Yeah.
system needs. And once traffic starts picking up on the system, you'll have an issue. Like I have had that issue when I first started. They had an issue where during rehearsals, everything was fine. This trigger that would send to we used to trigger the old score clock. We would trigger the videos to start.
Uh-huh.
So there was a little bit more control from our side, because we actually used to do the projections from the lighting booth. We'd run the server, and we would trigger the video board for the main chapter videos. And so we had one cable that went downstairs from the 500 level where our office is, through the network, down to the lower level so that we could trigger their system to just play video.
Mm-hmm.
And it would work every day. It would work at rehearsals. It would work perfect. You know, 1 to 1, we hit go, it plays the video in perfect time. And then we would notice as soon as the arena would open during the show, it wouldn't trigger in time. It would be laggy or it wouldn't
Yeah.
trigger at all. So we could not figure this out. And eventually we had to go there during the day, and, myself and a couple of colleagues, running triggers, running cues to like on, off, see when things happen. And we figured out that on this one network line we were running on, there was another bit of traffic that would pick up,
That's what I
like a
thought.
point of
Yeah.
sale system or something
Yeah.
was accidentally plugged into it, and
Mm.
all this traffic would pick up once they got open,
Yeah.
and then our triggers wouldn't be in time. So we figured that one out. We got off ArtNet. We try to decrease the amount of protocols we're outputting from our console and just simplify it. That's been very successful for us to try to solve
Yeah.
some of those problems. But you know what? Computers crash all the time.
Oh yeah,
You
computers
know,
crash and networks get
computers crash. Yeah,
it's hard to keep track of what's going on your network.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Especially these
yeah.
huge networks and these huge arenas with
Yeah.
hundreds of point of sale systems that operate, administration computers that are all tied to different VLANs and networks, and
Yeah.
you have to go through their bulkhead. You have to go through the building network to get to different places. Because you can't run your own cables in these places. You have to go through the infrastructure that's in place.
Yeah. So, let's talk about you.
Yeah,
So
for
you're
me.
doing this gig, obviously, which keeps you busy
Yeah,
during hockey season,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you're also doing other gigs like the one you told me, and I know
yeah,
I
yeah,
know you're on some other shows, and at the same time you're a regional sales manager for DataVisual,
yeah.
a Canadian distributor,
Wow.
for which
When you
I
put it like
happen
that,
to work
I
also.
sound busy. Yeah,
So let
yeah,
let me ask you, how do you manage all that? And
yeah.
what and
It's a lot.
actually, I think I have a more precise question. How did you get
Yeah,
into sales? What pushed you? Because I don't know many guys that do what we do, and that actually want to get into sales unless they get old like me, and
yeah,
they just want to stop touring. Uh,
yeah.
but I mean, what pushed you to get into that adventure?
Yeah, you know what? It was me being a customer actually is
Ah,
what got
yeah,
me into sales.
good
Uh,
point.
I've been I just had a great network in town here in
Mm-hmm.
Vancouver. I just try to surround myself by a lot of, other great people, try to just know a lot of the other lighting people in town, because I've always thought it's better to have a good community around you to support each other. And that's
Mm-hmm.
been really important for me to be able to do these jobs, because time management is so hard, is actually hard for me. I don't really think of it as me having like jobs.
Mm,
It's just my lifestyle.
yeah.
I work on and think about and do light
Mm,
all day, every day.
yeah.
It is my lifestyle. And
On different
it's,
platforms.
um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just about, it works for me. It probably doesn't work for most people, but it does work for me. And the way I got into sales, it's just, I started in nightclubs a long time ago,
Hmm.
and we always needed to buy fog fluid
Yeah,
and
yeah.
different lights. And we worked with Christie Lights in town because we were running this nightclub that was like a Vegas style nightclub. This is like in the 2010s when the nightclub scenes were very hot.
Yeah.
So I was always renting lighting from Christie Lights. We wanted to rent the best stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I was just a customer at Christie Lights, and I came across a pretty big job that I was asked to program for, and we needed a salesperson we needed some lights as well. So I did the design, passed it off to Christie Lights, my sales rep there at the time, and she had kind of just been like, "Hey, man, you keep giving me all these jobs, so why don't we just work together, and then we can kind of work on these projects together." And so they did. I just kind of slowly started meeting the people at Kirsty Lights, and Kirsty Lights Sales, after
Hmm.
working in the rental, working with them, crew chiefing for shows with them. They just said, why don't you just come on board and let's try this out and see if you can sell some stuff. and it went okay. I'm not a salesperson at all. I'm just terrible, but I'm okay with talking with people, and I've done so many shows that I'm at least you know, a fairly decent problem solver,
Uh-huh.
we'll say.
Yeah.
And I know the equipment. That's just my only thing is that I know equipment, and I
Mm-hmm.
can make reasonable suggestions to people of what can solve their problem.
Yeah.
And I like lighting, so I try to stay hip to the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to stay in touch with whatever's coming out, and get the new stuff, and tell people about things and get excited. It does excite me. It makes me excited. These like the new lighting. So I talk about it in a exciting way, and that kind of gets people involved, and it gets people excited too. That's kind of my approach. I mean, I'm not super successful with them. I'm hoping to have a lot more success, but I'm still learning the sales game. But I'm getting in there.
Yeah.
I'm just able to. I'm able. People. The other things people have always asked me, where can I get this? How do I get this?
Yeah.
Because I have had a pretty good network in town with management of different venues and uh, and companies. So people are often asking me, where can I get this? And now I have an outlet. I have a way where I can be like, oh, this is how you get this, or I can get you that, or let me get you a price on that. Um, and
Yeah.
that's been really helpful. I've
I
just been able to help my friends.
I understand the fact that you want to be the bridge
Yeah.
between the need and the supply.
That's totally it.
That's
Yeah. And
that's
not even
pretty
that I want to
much,
be, I just
yeah.
am it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's and the more acquainted, I mean, the more close you are to the supply point, the better,
Yeah.
the more efficient you get at solving problems and getting the right equipment to the
Yeah.
right people.
Yeah. That's actually very well said. Yeah. Just
Mm.
being if able to efficiently solve these problems very
Yeah.
fast. Yeah. And also it's important knowing what things cost, because you need to point whatever client you have, you need to point them in the right direction as to what their budget allows for.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna try to offer a nightclub a solution that's for an arena or a stadium. You really have to know what's different, what products to put in different places. That's been very valuable for me.
Yeah. Let's go back in time.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
read a bit about you because
Okay.
there is some information about you out on the internet.
Okay.
I looked it up,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah, of
saw
course.
that being a teenager,
Yeah.
you were very into playing around with electronics and taking things
Yeah.
apart and trying to make them better, trying to make them work.
Yeah.
And
Trying.
in that
Yeah.
in that sphere, we're pretty much the same. It was same for me. I used to take things
Yeah.
apart. I even signed up for electronics school back
Yeah.
in the 80s to learn how to put them back together.
I did as well.
The
Yeah.
thing is, it was very different for me because the technology wasn't where it was probably at the time you started
Yeah.
fiddling with stuff like that. But why
Yeah.
don't you tell me how it all started and how you got into this? I'd like to know what were your pastimes? What were you doing at the time? And
Yeah.
also how you were able to get into this business. Because a lot of people out there
Yeah.
find it cool. They find it interesting. They say, "Hey, I'd like to work." Honestly, if I had known I could make a living doing this,
Yeah.
I would have done it right out of high school,
I
right?
agree. I say that
Which
all the time too.
that's not what happened. I started doing professional lighting in my late 30s.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody told me
Yeah.
that you could actually earn a living doing
I
this.
didn't know either. Yeah, I wish I had
Okay, so
known
let's go there.
either.
Tell
I
me
wish I'd
about
known
it.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think just as a teenager, I was hopelessly addicted to music. I'm still hopelessly
Yeah.
addicted to music. It's just my favorite thing. I just love it so much. Tried playing piano growing up, not so great. Played guitar for a long time in my life, not the greatest. I'm not gonna be good enough to get in any good bands.
Yeah.
Um, did some DJing when I was a little older,
Mm-hmm.
so and I was okay at that. I worked with an artist, like a rapper, and so I did some shows. I did some shows with him, but yeah, I was always trying to take stuff apart. If something was broken, I'd try to fix it. And I actually went to electronics engineering in college.
Yeah.
So same kind of road
Okay.
that you took, trying to fix
Yeah.
stuff. But at the time, this was like the early 2000s, and we were making circuit boards for like TV remotes or an audio tester and stuff. It wasn't really interesting to me. And I thought coming out of it, I was just what am I going to be, a TV repairman,
Yeah.
soldering stuff back together. I didn't like it. So I wasn't super passionate about it. I ended up working with my dad worked at a power plant. I ended up working scaffolding at a power plant and realized that that wasn't really for me, coming as kind of an artistic kid. It was kind of good with mechanical stuff. I Working in a power plant wasn't really my vibe, working with in that kind of atmosphere. So I just started working at what I was doing was promoting a night at nightclubs. Is how I kind of got into it. How I met these nightclub people is I was doing Rock Band. If you remember the game Guitar
Yeah.
Hero and Rock
Yeah.
Band, okay, my friends and I were obsessed with that game. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
coming up, so we started hosting night at local nightclubs
Oh.
during the week, okay, where we would set up our Rock Band or our Guitar Hero setup, and we would play on the projection screens at
Uh-huh.
at nightclubs. Okay, it was just like kind of a night we wanted to do with our friends. Um, it wasn't super successful, but it did introduce me to the people who worked at the nightclub
Uh-huh.
and the people who worked at the music store beside the nightclub. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so I
Okay.
started kind of doing promotions with this record store, with a music store, Tom Lee Music in Vancouver, and they had a little stage upstairs. They had a studio and a performance stage. So they got me trying to help out with the stage a little bit, and that kind of sparked my interest. I was like, oh, this is kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know this. Met some of the workers there, who worked at the clubs around town. So they, brought me, come on. They said, come on down. I'll show you around a little bit, show you what we do. And I saw it, and then I saw there was a job posting for the nightclub beside the music store.
Uh-huh.
So I went in for an interview, and this guy had recognized me. Oh, I saw you at Tom Lee before because he bought things,
Yeah.
and that was like a really good fit. I came in to this nightclub, and on a Friday night, and he's like, "Hey, try this out."
What was the
And
job?
the job was being a lighting guy. It was
Oh.
lighting tech. It was
Okay.
lighting tech at a nightclub at the top 40 Vegas style nightclub in town, like the
Wow.
busiest nightclub in town. Okay, and I didn't know a lot about that world at all. He just said, "Come on down," and I said, "Okay, what time should I be there?" He's like, 10 p.m. I was like, "Oh my God, I start work at 10 p.m. Okay." So I went down, and they were using Light Jockey 2 at the time.
Yeah.
And so I used a little light jockey. We had some projections using Modulate on an old iMac. And so the job was doing lights and running visuals at this nightclub, at this top 40 nightclub. And so it was a little bit of a challenge at first, but it was a good fit because right away they asked me to do some maintenance on lights. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where my electronics engineering background immediately kicked in. I didn't even know it. I was able to fix some lights for them, and they were pretty happy about that. So right away, I was their guy, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I started working a lot, and the guy I took over for was, he was in his 30s. He was wanted to do less 10 p.m. starts, and so I just took on all these nights at this nightclub. And same thing as you. I wish I had known
Hmm.
about this job earlier
How
because
old were
it
you at
as
the
a
time when this happened?
this was like I think it was like 2008. So I would have been like 25,
Okay.
I think. Yeah, my mid 20s. Yeah, and I was obsessed with concerts growing up, in the punk rock scene,
Mm-hmm.
loving going to concerts, going to festivals. So having, played music, not being that great at music, start doing lighting to top 40 music. That's kind of where it clicked for me. It
Uh-huh.
clicked within a few weeks. And I just thought this is where I can be of value in the music industry. Is I really understand this. Making the light go to
Yeah.
the music.
Yeah.
When it goes up, it goes down. This I can figure out. I can't tell you on what note is being played, but I can tell you what color you should be doing. You should be playing at the time. So it kind of worked out really well for me, coming from that background of being obsessed with music, electronics, engineering, and then just falling into this nightclub where nightclubs are a hard environment for lights to live in. They're on all the time. They don't get a lot of time to be maintained.
They're
So there was a
hard
lot of
for
work at these clubs.
they're hard
Yeah.
for us humans to live in.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
didn't get
You're
too
right.
involved with nightclubs because, as I said, I
Yeah.
got into this business in my late 30s. And the
Yeah.
older you
Late 30s
get,
people have no business in a nightclub.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I did a lot of weddings, I did a lot of parties and stuff like that. And at a certain point in my career, I just gave up on the weddings because it just killed me, you know.
For sure. Yeah, I
But
never got into the
yeah,
weddings, luckily.
yeah, I got into Greek weddings.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
the owners of the clubs I worked at were Greek. I've been to some
yeah.
Greek weddings,
And shows,
smashed some
a
plates.
Greek show, the
Yeah.
headliner doesn't come on till 1 a.m. or something like
Oh,
that.
that's right.
Yeah.
After dinner. Yeah, you got to have dinner and drinks and dancing,
Oh
and
yeah.
then the show
Oh
starts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I've done some
it
Greek
ends up with
shows.
everybody on
They're
stage,
fun.
everybody in the room on stage.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And flowers everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been to some really
Yeah.
good Greek parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, at some point I had to simmer down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good way to start
for sure.
the club scene.
Yeah, like I was really lucky because the family who owned the nightclub that I worked at, they're a Greek family.
Okay.
Um, they owned a number of other nightclubs in town
Yeah.
and restaurants. So it was right away I was able to start working at their other venues because I kind of learned pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then one of their venues was changing from a nightclub to a live club.
Okay.
So within the first like 2 years of me being working with this company, I was able to help design this new live room that they were putting in.
Uh-huh.
So that was really cool. So that kind of took me from doing nightclub, clubby DJ lighting,
Hmm.
and introduced me into more live band lighting.
Yeah.
So I was still doing Saturday nights at the Top 40 Club. Once the new venue opened, I was doing. Of course, yes, I was doing the Top 40 DJ night club lighting on the weekends.
Hmm.
I had a Tuesday night that was very busy in town that I was doing, and then every other day that we were doing a live show, I would be at the new venue called Venue, doing as many live shows as I can or as I could.
Yeah, when you start
So
doing
I just had a
that,
ton of exposure.
yeah, when you start doing
Yeah,
that, then you meet a lot of artists, meet a lot of
yeah,
producers, and that's how you
yeah,
get picked up to do tours and stuff like that. It happened to me on the
yeah,
corporate scene. It was pretty much the
yeah,
same thing. Some acts come through,
yeah.
and then some of
You do a good
them,
job for them, they recognize you,
yeah,
or you vibe with some people.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because that's what's really important is in a touring group is that you have good rapport.
Yeah,
You don't necessarily have to be the best at your job, but you have to be able to be tolerable for the for the day. The show
yeah,
is only the show is only 75, 90 minutes of the day.
yeah.
You're on tour 24 hours a day. You really got to be able to hang out with a group of people, yeah, and
It,
perform at the highest level too.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a question of all getting on the same vibe and working together.
Yeah.
Listen, we're coming to the end of this
Okay.
episode, but there's one thing I always ask everybody at the end
Yeah.
is what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's starting in the business or who wants to get into the business, um, from a guy with your experience and
Yeah.
what you've been
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
What are the wise words you'd like to leave to our
Yeah.
audience?
Well, I get asked this a lot. I get a lot of young techs approach me at concerts. Um,
And I know you're involved. I know you're involved
yeah,
with helping mentor
yeah, I've
newcomers, right?
tried.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I tell people to reach out to me all the time. I give my information to people, all the time at concerts, the young techs that I meet say, reach out anytime if you want to talk shop. I really want to play stuff forward. I'm not a gatekeeper like some of the older people that
Hmm.
I have worked with growing up where they didn't really want to share some of their tricks. And, sometimes I've been maybe wanting to hold back some of my tricks at some weird times too. But I really try to give everybody my tricks, give everybody the stuff that I'm working with. I share all my information, because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily, what you have, it's who's doing it and how you're interpreting what you're hearing.
Yeah.
But I do get asked this a lot from young techs. My door's always open to talk to them too. But one thing I tell young guys, and I wish I had known this too growing up, like same as you, we
Yeah.
didn't know this industry. I didn't even know this was a job. I didn't know I could do this as a job. I just tell kids like just get involved. A really great way to get involved is find a local production company that's working at the arena, whether it's your local union, which is a lot of these arenas are on
Yeah.
union, or if it's the local company that has the contract there at the arena. A lot of them are Rhino is the company at a lot of venues,
Mm-hmm.
or the union, or in Vancouver here we use a company called Rigit who are great. I say just get involved with them. They're often looking for people. Those are generally a really easy way into the industry where you can start seeing how these shows get put together
Yeah.
on like the big shows. Like you can jump in and work in an arena anytime. They're always looking for people at these production companies. And those same companies often support festivals, local festivals around your town, and they often support local corporate events and smaller shows, right? So
Yeah.
that's a great way to get into the industry. For me, is another way for a lot of exposure. If you're into that type of music, is the nightclubs. Um, Nightclubs are often looking for lighting techs or just people to get involved in the tech. You have to be able to do a little bit of audio, a little bit of lighting, a little bit of video.
Yeah.
You get a lot of skills from doing that. Um, so that's another great way in. Nightclubs are an easy way to get in and learn a lot. They're a crash course because you're working a lot. They're open all the time,
Yeah.
and those local production companies. I mean, those are two really great ways in. I wish I had known about those when I was younger, because I did kind of get in when I was a little bit older. And if I had been doing this since I was right out of high school, if I'd known I wanted to do this, I probably would be a lot further along in my career by now. But um,
I find, I find you're.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I'm still turning out.
I think you made it.
I'm still making it. We're
Yeah.
all trying to
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah.
I'm really, yeah. I have some goals that I haven't got to yet that I'm still looking to accomplish. So, still working. We're
Can you
always
talk
still
about
working. I'm
those?
still learning. Well, yeah. I mean, I want to be an industry leader at the end of the day. I really want to be someone that can be turned on, or can be relied on and turned to, for any type of information. So I really want
Mm-hmm.
to do big shows. I want to do some of the biggest shows. I'd love to do some stadium work. I've worked in some stadiums, done some stadium
Mm-hmm.
shows, but I want to do like some really big shows, big broadcast shows. Like just high level stuff. I just want to be working on the highest level stuff at all the time and supporting the highest level of shows too. And that's where the data visual stuff comes in, where I can be involved in some of these massive scale shows, by providing gear and then being of value in that way too.
Absolutely. And now the word is
Yeah,
out.
always learning. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always learning.
Yeah.
I'm a student of light. I'll be a student of light for my life.
Yeah.
It is just my life. So
We're always learning.
I always
I'm
learn.
telling you, the day I stop learning, I retire.
Yeah,
That's it.
for sure.
Which will probably never happen.
Yeah, that's it. With our lifestyle, it's part of our life. We're so lucky that we found a lifestyle rather than a job or a career.
Oh, that's so right. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't feel I'm working. Not at all.
that's it. That's
Never.
it for sure.
Yeah.
We get to work with our friends all the time.
Yeah.
We get to work on interesting projects, and stuff that genuinely does interest me. The tech stuff doesn't interest everybody, but I'm just very lucky that I found what I like.
Well, I'm pretty sure that you don't
Yeah.
have conversations like we just had around the table at a family dinner.
No.
Me neither.
Uh,
I
yeah.
lose them. I lose them completely. They're either they don't understand or they
Yeah.
get completely bored.
Yeah, I'm half and half. Part of
Yeah.
my family actually does come from an art background,
Okay, that
and
helps.
that's actually what's a cool story is, my aunt has been a huge inspiration to me. She was a performer growing up, got to take me backstage when I was coming up.
Hmm.
Showed me some of the behind the scenes work, and I always thought that was really cool. I was always inspired by her, and I had another aunt who was a radio actor, like a voice actor, who did art full time. So these are um, just two people in my life who were doing art full time, and I was super inspired by that. So I
Hmm.
got very lucky, to be able to see that. And what's really cool is this summer, I had a weekend gig in Toronto. My aunt is from Toronto. I got to bring her out and give her a tour of my stage.
Oh, nice.
So it kind of came full circle this summer. It was really cool. Yeah, it was a really
Yeah.
cool little moment.
Yeah, if you look hard enough, there's always some people in your family that are, related in some way with what we
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
So
And then
yeah,
we
it
can talk
happened.
about the
Yeah,
art stuff, and lose everybody else.
yeah. That's it. Well, Dougal, thank you so much for
Oh,
this,
thanks for having me out.
for
This was really
telling
fun.
us all this stuff. I mean, really cool.
Yeah, yes, it's fun. Yeah, this was really good. Yeah, thank you for your time and having me on here. And I learned some stuff today too. It's great.
All right, that's cool, and maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Hey, yeah, I'm down.
All right. Well,
Always
take
got
care,
time to
man.
talk about lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks for having me on,
I'll
Claude.
see you at
Yeah.
LDI anyway.
Yes, sir, you will.
All
Yeah,
right.
looking forward to it.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Have a great day, man. See you later.